Hi everyone and welcome to Dodo Bird Drawing. In today's Drawing an Extinct Animal video, I'm going to be drawing the Hawai'i Mamo. I apologize if I mispronounced that. So without any further ado, let's roll the intro and let's get started. Okay, so I have my reference images all pulled up and I'm starting with the basic sketch, beginning with the head and back tail feathers area. I then move on to trying to do the belly. However, I soon realized that I did the proportions very incorrectly, and so it isn't going to look exactly good, so I erased my back and tail feathers that I had drawn in originally to draw them in anew with better proportions and positioning to make it a bit more accurate. I then do some more tweaks on the belly just to make sure it's all good, like so, before adding a bit more to the tail feathers and then adding in a wing, which I realized I did incorrectly, so I move it like so, and then I do the feet. However, these will take a while to get done correctly, so don't get too used to this version of the feet. It doesn't stick for very long. Okay, at this point, as I mentioned earlier, I have to do some tweaks to the, actually no, not the feet directly, well, eventually the feet. I resized most of the body because the proportions with the legs and feet were just super wrong, so I move it over, make it a bit smaller, and redraw on the tail feathers, at least the part that had to be erased, and then I make the feet a bit bigger for the purposes of the drawing. The shrinking was actually, now that I remember and realize, it wasn't specifically for the feet, though that may have been a factor. It was mainly so I could actually fit the beak in the drawing, which is what I'm currently doing now, just doing some tweaks to it just to make it look all good and at least somewhat, hopefully mostly, if not entirely, accurate. Okay, with the sketch completed, I move on to coloring in my drawing of the Hawai'i Mamo. I apologize again if I mispronounced it. Anyways, I'm coloring in the drawing in black because that was the main color of the plumage of the Hawai'i Mamo. Again, I apologize if I mispronounced it. And I will add in the highlights later for the drawing, but as you can see, I'm doing the main body and then the tail feathers like so. And then I move on to doing the beak like so in a darker gray color to have a bit of contrast, but also it is accurate to what it actually looked like, at least in some of the reference images I saw. There was a lot of variety in what the reference images looked like, to say the very least, when it came to doing this drawing. Anyways, I then move on to coloring in the feet in the same color, and then I move on to add in the highlights on top before adding in details that are in a lower layer. So I add in the smile like so, which takes me a bit to get right, but I do eventually get there before adding in the electric blue eye that is normal for my drawings, like so. I then move on to doing the wing line, but since I had colored in the main body entirely in black, I had to remove that layer just so I could actually see the sketch layer below it, so I could add in the wing line correctly where I wanted it to be, at least in the sketch. At this point, I then just move on to doing a bit of tweaks on the line just to make it look a bit better than it did with my initial lines going through there. I then add back in the original coloration to have the drawing basically be completed for that part. I then move on to doing the highlights on the wing, such as a gray part right through there, and yellow parts right through there, which does take me a bit. I think I do a bit? No, I don't do a bit more tweaks on it apparently. I thought I did. Anyways, I then move on to doing a bit of yellow on the tail feathers like so, and after not really liking how it looked, I make it a bit more closer to the reference image, at least kind of, potentially, and then I add in a bit of the yellow feathers right there before adding in a bit of yellow on the legs, and then adding in a gray line going through the rest of the wing like so, and then I believe I move on to doing stuff in the background like so, first adding in a darker part of the foot, like for the back part of the leg, basically, like the front leg, like the middle toe, I guess, and then I add in the back leg in a darker color before getting a dark yellow for the part of the tail feathers that is in the background. And again, there was a lot of differences with the reference images, so I just went with something slightly simple but effective nonetheless. Then I move on to the feet and smoothing out the feet. However, is this when I go back and do massive tweaks to it? I don't know. I am just smoothing out the feet for now, and then I do a lot more to them later, quite frankly put. I'm not fixing them now, I guess. I then do a bit of smoothing work through there, and through there, and through there, just to make it look better. Add in a bit more through there, and then just smooth out the leg like so. And I do a lot more removal because I don't like how thick it was. It didn't look accurate to me. Before then moving on to smoothing out the main like belly of the bird like so. Going through there, and then I do a bit more to make it look alright. I then move on to doing the beak like so. Just smoothing out a bit to make it a bit less rough looking before moving on to the back like so, and smoothing out the tail feathers as well like so, and then the wing as well. I then move on to the highlights. I add a bit more rounding on the bottom there, just to add a bit more accuracy and a bit more consistent, I guess you could say, before smoothing out the highlights like so, and adding a bit more to the smile because an amount of it was erased, so I make it a bit thicker as well to make it a bit more consistent, like so, before erasing a good chunk of that part that was on the leg but then erased, and then moving on to doing the dividing line between the two legs, like so, going through there, all the way through there, and then doing a bit more to divide the two toes that you can see on the front leg, like so. I then do a bit more on those little bit of the tail feathers, like right through there, just to make it look a bit more accurate and smoothed out. I guess smoothed out would be a better way to put it. I believe at this point, erase the entirety of the legs because I do not like how they look at all. So I fill out the bottom a bit more, and then I move on to re-adding in the legs, like so. And this takes quite a bit of time for me to get right, with a lot of changing of how big the pen is, well, not pen, pencil tool in this case, and just how much I'm erasing and how long I'm making them, and I change how long they are several times after having done the feet, which is not very convenient, honestly. However, I am able to get it at least mostly done, like so, and then I add in the front toe. However, after I attempt to add in the back toe, I realize that's too long, erase a good chunk of it, attempt to add in the front toe again, like so, and then do the smoothing out. Nope. Yes, I do a bit more smoothing out through there, and do a bit more smoothing out, and then I believe I realized again it was too long, so I erase another good chunk of it before, I believe this is the final iteration, I hope, and I make it a bit more smooth and accurate, like so, before adding in the back toe, well, middle toe, I guess you would say, on the front leg, like so. I apologize if you can hear the noise in the background, but anyway, I drew in the back toe that you could see, as well as the back leg, like so, and then move in to smooth them out, like so, going through there and there. I then move in to add a dividing line in between the two legs, like so, going all the way through there and through there, like so. After that, I then smooth out a bit more all through there, and then I do a bit more smoothing, I think, maybe? Yes, I do a bit more smoothing through there, like so, before doing a bit more and adding in a dividing line, like so, in those two spots. And that, I believe, concludes my drawing of the Hawai'i Mamo. Again, I apologize if I mispronounced it. What do you think of my drawing? Let me know in the comments down below. Was my pronunciation correct? Because I hope it was. Let me know in the comments down below. What extinct animals do you want me to draw in the future? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!